It's amazing. Yeah, it's an interesting statement. I'm almost going to laugh. I mean, it's funny because a lot of times the fans, they have a certain perspective or their idea of what we're supposed to be or why we do things is funny to me. One thing I've learned since I've been in this group, and even before that to a certain degree, if you think about it, Metallica's always done what Metallica wants to do. The albums each have their own personality, and sometimes they're favorable to some people, and sometimes they're not. A lot of people hated, what we had done with what we did with Lou Reed, and that's okay because everybody's entitled to their opinion. But we did it, and we didn't do it to win over fans. We did it because we wanted to take that creative journey. And with this album, it's just what we feel, it's where our hearts are, and that's what we do. We make music for ourselves, and if people like it and they embrace it, that's awesome. I like that thrashy flavor myself personally. I love the groove. I love the groove on this new album. I feel that Hardwired as an album is a grooving album, even though it's heavy or even like medium tempos. It's still, there's a pocket in there. There's a groove to me as a bass player that I feel is funky. So whether it's thrash or whether it's got a Black Album feel or whatever, it doesn't matter because it's still Metallica. And nothing is like, oh, we got to make a thrash album. I guarantee that's not what's going on in our minds. Well, as most people know, with a brand new Metallica release, usually there's some space and time between albums. But it in this last sort of gap, we were actually very busy, and it wasn't obviously related completely to this new release and the writing of these songs. We actually did an album with Lou Reed that took some time, and that was important for us. It was something we needed to go through. And Lou is a legend and an icon and a creative force, so we wanted to do that. And we also made a movie called Through the Never, which was also important to us, and that took a couple years. With that said, I believe that these creative challenges and these journeys that we take make us a better band. Important thing is we're here now, and I don't think it's ever going to take this long to make another record. I'm already coming up with new ideas because I'm excited about what's happening. So. What almost always happens in the world of Metallica is there are ideas that are prepared, and a lot of these ideas happen spontaneously. On tour, we have a jam room, and in the jam room, that's where you kind of warm up before you go on stage, and then ultimately we play about 3 songs in that jam room, and then we basically hit the stage. Someone like James Hetfield, he'll plug in his guitar, he'll adjust a volume knob or a tone knob, and he comes up with an incredible riff. So at that point, we realized many years ago that it's important to have a set of like recording gear there so that we can document these ideas. So the process actually is happening the whole time. And now in the age of iPhones and smartphones, you can document your riffs that way, and then ultimately at home you come up with ideas. So it's a combination of a lot of things. On this album, these are primarily James Hetfield's riffs, and what happens with that is where Death Magnetic, by the way, was more collaborative. It was a bit more different in that, but these riffs were so good on this new batch of ideas that we just started jamming on James's riffs, and with that, it's a process. Certain things get eliminated. It's a process of elimination, and the end result is what you have with Hardwired. But the main focus has been these last 2 years on this album. There were certain times where we'd focus on new songs, but ultimately, we got down to the last 2 years, and we really dove into each song and started the process. We lay him down to rest. Machine the new device. I like the song "Spit Out the Bone" because I think it was, in my mind, the song that was probably the one that was the most challenging, and I didn't know what direction it was going to go myself personally, and I think my producer, or our producer, Greg Fiddleman, felt the same way. And then it found its place, and the personality came to life, and now it's one of the songs that everybody likes the best. So, it's funny how that happens. You got something that's kind of a difficult journey and a challenge. Lars always had the vision, and I give him credit for that, and then it ends up growing into something really special, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, and like I said, sometimes with that, it's pleasing to people, and sometimes it isn't, and that's just the way it is, You hear my feeling is a lot of great bands go through that process. It's like whether it's Neil Young or David Bowie or Black Sabbath, there's always these journeys that a band takes as artists. And with this, it was really exciting because even making 12 videos, for the album and really getting creative with that and finding the directors and having them get to their creative roots. And it wasn't about the money, I mean, I think to make all 12 of these videos was the price of one video like 10 years ago. I mean, so it isn't about that. It's about digging deep and being creative and making a statement, even on a visual level.